everybody. Welcome to MangaPod. We are a weekly podcast in which we all get together after we read all or part of a manga, and then we discuss it with friendship, love, and lots of spoilers. This week we are continuing our spooky October month of spookiness, where we read spooky manga.
Yes, more.
Ooh. Ooh. So this week we're discussing Monster, volumes 5 through 8, chapters 33 through 68. We read the first bit of this forever ago, so I'm really excited that we're coming back to it. Yes, I'm Erin, a happily Erin, your host, and with me are my three global co-hosts. Yoku is also here, if you can tell by his picture.
Yeah, Yoku's definitely here.
The prettiest thing that I can't even look at because it really creeps me out.
This is what Erin found when she Google searched monster funny face. And we decided to just roll with it.
Yeah, we just went.
Hi guys, I'm Dodger. And there's nothing else to contribute with that face staring at me.
It's terrifying.
It is.
I'm not a fan, but I'm also a huge fan at the same time.
I have it in 4. I have it on Twitch, on YouTube, on XSplit, and in the Skype chat. It's everywhere.
I feel like it's peering into my soul.
Shut it the fuck down.
My name is Lou, and I'm from Lou Talks Anime. What's up, everybody? How you doing?
Lou, guess what?
What?
We have to sing you happy birthday.
Ooh,
we do.
Okay.
I don't know.
Guys, last week was supposed to be Lou's birthday pod, but we skipped it. So that means this week is Lou's birthday pod. Haha.
Yeah.
Haha. All right, ready? Happy birthday to you. Woo! Happy birthday to you. Woo! Happy birthday, dear Lou. Happy birthday to you.
Hey. Yay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're so welcome.
You're welcome.
Perfectly harmonized.
Oh, yeah.
Like you've got, I think after so much practice, like you guys have learned how to overcome the Skype lag.
I was very interested to see how you're going to finish that sentence. To hear what we overcame.
Seems like you've really overcome your embarrassment at how good it always is.
Good.
It's always phenomenal.
I'm embarrassed.
I mean, come on.
Guys, I'm embarrassed by how great we are.
Me too. Like, you know, sometimes when you share a gift like we have, it just feels like you're flaunting, and that's, you know. Yeah. But it was for Lou.
We'll always flaunt
I
for you,
appreciate
Lou.
the humble brag.
Yes, if you've never joined us for MangaPod before, what we like to do is give you a short spoiler-free description of the manga that we read, aka a summary, and then we'll give you our spoiler-free recommendations, whether we think you should spend time going to read this manga or not. That way, if it sounds like something you're interested in, and you don't want to be spoiled, you can take your leave once we get to spoiler section. We do ask that everybody in chat not post any spoilers for anything until we get to spoiler section. And once we get there, please don't post anything past chapter 68. As this is a mystery manga, a spoiler is a big deal, especially for mystery manga.
Yeah.
Because one word out of you could ruin the whole experience. And we have like 200 chapters left of this. So don't.
Yeah, we'll punch you digitally.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Who's reading the description?
I mean, I'll read it. I have it up. So, all right, cool. Dr. Kenzo Tenzuma is a renowned brain surgeon of Japanese descent working in Europe, highly lauded by his peers as one of the great young minds that will revolutionize the field. He is blessed with a beautiful fiancée and is on the cusp of a big promotion in the hospital he works at. But all of that is about to change with a grave dilemma that Kenzo faces one night, whether to save the life of a small boy or that of the town's mayor. Despite being pressured by his superiors to perform the surgery on the mayor, his morals force him to perform the surgery on the other critical patient, saving his life and forfeiting the mayor's. A doctor is taught to believe that all life is equal. However, when a series of murders occurs in the surgeon's vicinity, all the evidence pointing to the boy he saved, Kenzo's beliefs are shaken. Along his journey to unravel the true identity of his little patient, Kenzo discovers that the fate of the world may be intertwined with this mysterious child.
Yay! Shit goes down.
Yes. It's a lot of shit going down.
Yeah, so for my spoiler-free recommendation, shit goes down, and it's awesome. And it's so good. The pacing in this manga is just insane, and it makes the tension of the mystery that much more incredible. It's Monster is well known as a classic, both the manga and the anime, I believe. Manga more so. It's hailed as a classic, and there's a really good reason, and it stands up throughout the years. And like, I don't know when it was published. I think it was in the 90s. Something like late 90s?
I want to say 90s, too.
It seems 90-ish.
I will confirm or deny that. 94 to 2001. Good job, Erin.
Yeah, Erin. Yeah. Nailed it.
So it definitely holds up. It's phenomenal. I think if you have any sort of interest in a mystery, anything, like any sort of media, you need to check it out. You need to do yourself a favor and check it out. All the characters are very fascinating. The way their stories intertwine and how everything plays out, it's just incredible. And I wish I had that amount of writing ability to intertwine so many things. It's awesome.
Yeah, Monster's fantastic. I know that we're reading it during horror month, but this isn't like a gory story. It's not like a spooky story. It's a really intense criminal intrigue story. That, yeah, Erin absolutely nailed it on the head, that every character winds up being important. Every character like gets just enough screen time to really let you know who they are and what's going on with them. And when it connects back to everything else, it's like, it's so good. It's so well done. And yeah, I've read it before, and it's so fun to go back and read it again because it's just as engaging the second time. So yeah, I absolutely recommend it. I think it's great.
I'm going to echo what you guys said. I will say that it's not my favorite work by the mangaka Naoki Urasawa. That goes to 20th Century Boys, which is in my top 5.
Same.
But like, Monster is still in my top 10, probably number 6, like just outside of that list. I really love Monster. It is an interesting story. For its time, the art holds up really well. He has a very specific style or particular style that he executes flawlessly. I don't think it is the best looking manga that I've seen by any stretch of the imagination, but it does look spectacular. And I do enjoy it for not just the narrative elements, but for all the detail that goes into this manga. So highly, highly, highly recommend. It's real good.
Awesome. Yeah. So there you go. 3 thumbs up approval. So now we are going to jump into spoiler section. If you guys do not want to be spoiled, and like we said, it's a mystery, you really don't want to be spoiled for things that happen along the way, even if we're pretty early on. It's just something, you know. So if you don't want to be spoiled, take your leave and then go and read it. You can come back and watch the VOD of this on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/happilyerin. That's where all the previous manga pods are hosted. We also have the previous one that we did of this on there as well. So now we're going to jump in. God, this picture. Should I take this picture off, or am I leaving? Are we committed?
Look,
I have nothing else to put there.
It's awful.
That doesn't answer my question. Neither of those answer.
If you want to switch it, you can make it Johan. But after we're in spoiler section.
But I don't have a Johan picture saved to my desktop.
Okay, then never mind. Then,
I'm scared to Google search for him.
Yeah, because you want to be spoiled.
Because I don't want to know.
I can just
delete.
What?
Why don't you use?
Everybody's saying to commit. Everybody's saying to commit.
All right,
just commit. All right, we're gonna commit. Sweet, done. Done. All right, countdown, please.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Johan is Satan.
Johan is something.
A dick.
Johan is something. Dude.
Oh, gosh.
I always think... I'm just going to start it off because I don't want to lose my thought.
Go for it.
I always think it's interesting when people are doing mystery manga or just like any sort of story can reveal the main villain straight out and still make the story fascinating and make the mystery unwind interesting. And that you're just like, still don't know what's going to happen. And we see so much Johan. Like, we see so much of him. And yet we're still like, I'm personally like enthralled. Like, I just want to know more about what his plan is. 'Cause I don't know. I'm like, you're killing people. Are you just killing people, kill people? Or are you like, well, you got a bigger plan? I don't know. But he's awesome. I think he's a very interesting villain. And we haven't even like really dug into him very far.
Yeah, I thought that this section of reading definitely gave us much more of a look at Johan, which I appreciated because I think that it would be very easy for a mangaka to be like, well, I don't want you to know too much about the bad guy, right? Like, I want them to be a mystery. But I like that we're uncovering more and more about who he is and the sorts of things that he does care about, because you can tell there are things that he does care about. And the way that Tenma is changing at the same time, I think is fascinating. Although, I was so angry to find out that Johan is like slipping into all these kid brains. I was like, no. At first I was going, oh, well, it's obvious that, there's a lot of trauma from when he was a kid. So maybe, he hates adults, but he doesn't hate kids. Like, that's why he spends so much time with all of these kids, because he wants them to like have a bright future or something. And then you find out that he's like teaching them like fucking murder games and shit. Yes. And I'm like, no, Johan, you're an actual monster, just like the title of the manga says. So
no, I think Johan is probably one of my favorite villains in manga or anime, because he's such a complex villain. And the thing is, we're at no point, or we've read 8 volumes, basically, right? And we still haven't even caught a glimpse of his motives, because right now his motives don't really matter. What matters is establishing him as not only a threat to Tenma, but also someone worthy enough to justify tainting Tenma as a person. Because right now Tenma is a very innocent figure that tends to avoid conflict and minimize the amount of violence that needs to be perpetuated. He goes out of his way to help people, even when there's limited compensation. Tenma is a very good and pure boy. A very good boy.
Who bought a gun?
Who bought a gun.
Oh, and a sniper, right?
Like a sniper gun. I was like,
not just a little pistol.
So right now it's about establishing Johan as a type of person that you can see, like, you can kind of rationalize Tenma killing, but also understand that that's going to turn Tenma into kind of the monster he's trying to kill himself.
Well, that's the thing, right? Is that they've made it very clear that Johan absolutely knows that he has bought a gun, absolutely knows that he's been trailing Johan, right? Yeah. So at this point, it's apparent to us as a reader that if Tenma were to shoot Johan won, because Johan is like allowing it to happen. Like, he's cool with it, because I think he realizes that if Tenma kills him, then it's like, I gotcha. And they're like, no.
He knows.
Yeah.
Just the way he's able to set up so many different pieces through so many different people throughout so many different places is just insane. Laura, you're just like, there's a little part where if it went a little too further, it would feel very unrealistic, but the way that the mangaka is playing it out, it's like kind of the connections all make a sense in what's going on. And just the like Johan's connections to so many different people in so many different places, it makes sense why he would be able to set up certain things in certain ways, because he seems like a person who has everything figured out. Like, he knows what his end goal is, and so he's figured out every little place he needs to be and every person that he needs to manipulate and everything.
Yeah. And he never, at least we've never seen him do anything terrible directly, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's always manipulated or coerced other people to do terrible things, right? I don't necessarily need to ever see him do anything directly. I just think that it's interesting that we have never seen him, like, actually be a terrible person.
Yeah. But then
I mean, the closest that we've gotten was him poisoning the members of the hospital staff.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not, you know, that wasn't something that we actually saw. We find that out after the fact through exposition. So we haven't actually seen Johan kill anyone, I don't think.
Yeah. I mean, we have reasons. We have reasons to believe that he burned the public records building.
Mm-hmm.
Right. We have reasons to believe that he poisoned a bunch of people. Mm-hmm. But you're right. Yeah, we haven't seen him do any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm. And like so they were saying that every foster parent he's had has died, right? Up until, is that correct? I just want to make sure.
I think.
Except for the ones he's currently with.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just trying to make sure. But he has never said that he outright was the one that did anything to them.
Right.
So it's always like, well, he never gets his hands dirty. But who is he that he's able to manipulate so many different kinds of people? Like a serial killer. Like he manipulated a serial killer to the point of, like, the serial killer hid out in this lady's basement with all these pictures of him, like his face on them. That part, that was creepy. Like, I was just like,
I loved that though, because I think that storyline more than anything else also let us know that Johan, on par with a criminal psychologist, like, understands what makes serial killers tick. Mm-hmm. Like, knew so much about this person that he was able to say, I see exactly what turned you into this, and I know how to trigger it again.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, that's so fucked up. Mm-hmm. You're a serial killer manipulating other serial killers. Like, what the fuck?
Like, how are you able to get to this point? And you're so young. You're so itty bitty.
Yeah.
Which is what I'm looking forward to seeing later on, because I'm sure we'll get an even deeper backstory of Johan later on. Because right now, as much as we know, they've talked about the orphanage that he was in, mm-hmm. and how it was an awful place. Mm-hmm. And they have talked about him going from foster home to foster home. And that's about it. And it's like, so far, all we have is just Tenma piecing together Johan's backstory. So
and now the book, right?
Yeah.
We have, like, the book that's a weird puzzle piece that we know is, like, one of the first times that we've seen Johan have an emotional reaction to something, and, like, an extreme one. Mm-hmm. And despite that, he wants the book.
Yeah.
Which I think is interesting. It's not like something that he doesn't ever want to see again or wants to destroy. Although, I guess that's not true. We don't know whether or not he wants to just, like, destroy every copy of this book or something.
Every time he sees it, he just takes it to his backyard and lights it on fire.
It just lights it on fire. But we know that lines from that book are what he wrote on his letters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the book is really significant. We just don't know why yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to see how much more Nina comes into play, how much more her story and why she's so different from Johan, even though they had the same stuff, or they went through very similar things. I'm also very interested to see what happens to her later on, if she, like, becomes manipulated by him at some point, or if she, like, turns, or if she like we think Tenma is like the opposite of Johan, but Nina is actually the one. I'm very interested to see how her story plays out, because we know that she went to get trained by the same guy who gave Tenma his gun.
Right.
I think so, which is another thing. I'm like, they just introduce these characters and then they come back, but not in a way that feels like forced or anything. Like, this character was there. Oh, and then they're back again, and you're just like, oh, that's
that guy.
That's guy. Yeah.
What I like about it is that what the mangaka could have just as easily have done is just introduce new characters to fill similar roles. Mm-hmm. But I feel like he really understood his characters and what they were capable of, and made it a point to make connections whenever possible. Mm-hmm. Instead of just being put in a position where, like, all right, Nina's gonna go get trained. I have to come up with another trained soldier guy that's good with guns that can teach her how to shoot stuff.
Mm-hmm. And also,
I could have easily gone that route, and also
put them in the countries where they're gonna be at that time, because this is all over Europe. Like, this is all over the place.
I think it really helps contribute to this web feeling that you get the deeper you get into the story, of like how much is purposefully happening because Johan wants it to happen, and how much is happening just out of coincidence, and you honestly like never know. And I think that is such a like unnerving feeling when you're reading it.
Yeah, you're like, ugh. It's just, I don't know, there's a lot of times it's just like the heebie-jeebies. Yeah, you're just like, you feel like your mind is being played with.
Dude, when Roberto showed up at the psychologist's office, at first I was like, is this a fucking coincidence that like he's just married to this woman who has no idea what he actually does with his life, and she's just like, he's been acting so weird, I don't know what it is, it's definitely like, I know that he's been cheating. And I was like, oh, it wasn't cheating, he was cheating as an excuse because he's actually murdering people. And then, like, in the end, they weren't a real husband and wife at all. And he was just, like, there to corner the psychologist. And I was like, this is so bizarre. Like, I never know. I never know when to be like, ah!
Yes.
Like, for me, my favorite reveal of him was when he was, like, hooking up with a prostitute.
Yes.
That was the best one.
Yes.
Like, I think out of every character, I cannot conceive of why Roberto will do literally anything that Johan wants him to do.
Yeah.
And like, when talking to the psychologist, he said something along the lines of something that implied, I've always imagined killing people, but I was never allowed to. And now with Johan, I'm allowed to. And I keep wondering if that's really all it is. If just like Johan like let the leash loose, you know?
Yeah.
But
then why is, like, Johan the one who did? Like, why is he the one that he connected to?
Well, like, every killer, right? Every killer that they've talked to has been like, Johan's dope.
Yeah.
Right? They all look up to him so much, and you don't entirely understand why. I thought it was really interesting hearing the conversation, not with the serial killer that had the basement situation, but the one closer to the end of our reading, when the guy was like, all right, well, if you were Johan, what would you do now? And he was like, I would kill my current parents because, like, I'm sick of them. Like, I'm bored.
Yeah.
I was like, and that guy thought Johan was the coolest dude in the world. He was like, yeah, Johan, he doesn't feel shit. He kills whoever he wants. And I was like, ugh.
And how he, like, finds these serial killers, too. Like, is he the one, like you said with Roberto, is he the one, like, setting these serial killers loose? Like, giving them the push to do that? Like, giving them the, like, ideas and the way of going about it to not get caught, or the methods that they could come up with and stuff.
Like the guy that was killed in the alley by the detective.
Yes.
The alcoholic detective. Yeah, when it was revealed that he was at the exact same orphanage as Johan, I think that definitely implied what you're talking about, that like he is such a master manipulator that when he sees that potential in somebody, he's able to just like unlock it.
So he's not really he's not really finding serial killers, he's creating serial killers.
Right.
That's really interesting.
That's what
Yeah.
so great. He's
And
creepy.
it makes a lot of sense too. And
Yes, he's a big old creep.
Big old
because
creep.
I think the biggest strength of Johan as a character is that in the context of the universe, he really understands human nature and what appeals to us universally. Like specifically when he was talking to the children, it was always a conversation of you need to understand what it means to live. And the only way to really appreciate life is to live with your life on the line. And only the strong will survive. So that's why all these children are falling off buildings and dying.
And putting it into the context of a game.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like you need to play this game so that you really like understand how to be an adult who knows that, who knows what life really is. And it's like, no.
No, and that's really like highlighted by that conversation that we see of that child that has a broken leg that goes to play the game again.
With Dieter. Yeah.
I fear for so many people's lives in this, where I'm like, no one feels safe. Like no one is safe.
Yeah.
So I'm like, Dieter, what's gonna happen to Dieter? I'm scared for Dieter, the psychologist. When his time gonna be up?
I was like, Tenma, why would you leave Dieter with the psychologist when you know that these people are coming after everyone who's even remotely associated with it? Like, if I had Dieter kind of following me around, I would try to set Dieter up with a couple that was completely uninvolved. Just like befriend somebody. I don't know. Just be like, can you take care of this kid for just like a hot minute?
Yes.
Like the foreign couple.
Yes.
Like the English couple that Tenma ran into.
Yeah.
I was hoping they would come back.
Tenma has met so many sweet people, and I get that he's like this is gonna sound terrible. I get that he's tried to pawn Dieter off a couple of times, and Dieter's like, no, I'm not leaving because I love you, Mr. Tenma. Like, I get that. But like he was able to convince Dieter to stay with the psychologist, right? I feel like in a life or death situation where it's like, I need to do a thing that is extremely dangerous, and Dieter, I need you to just like stay with these people instead.
I feel like he could force Dieter to do it. I feel like he's a stronger man than this child.
Yeah. I mean, they were trying to turn Dieter into a super soldier. But like he's not a super soldier, right?
No.
He's just a kid who is abused at this point. So yeah.
The other person I fear for is the girl from the college and the boy, the illegitimate son. They're too close.
Lottie,
They're too close.
Lottie and I can't remember the dude's name.
I can't remember his name.
I just love the name Lottie, so I remembered her name.
It's a really cute name. What do you guys think about that whole storyline, that whole arc? Because that was a big one, and it's still going on.
It was, and at first I wasn't sure, and maybe it's because it's been so long since we've read the first section, but at first I was like, I don't necessarily know where all of this is going. Like, I don't necessarily, like, aside from, like, yes, Johan is there, but I don't necessarily see why we needed all of this buildup. And I think it's interesting that we've found out that all of the murders can be tied back to this old man. And I don't think I'm alone. I don't think I'm alone in thinking that Johan was going to pretend to be his son.
Oh no, I totally thought he was.
Thought that was
when he got the little when he got the little gift from his mom that proved it, I was like,
like, why don't you just leave it with me so that you really commit to this decision to never see your father again? I was like, Johan. Yeah.
And the part where the kid tells his foster parents like that he wants to be their adoptive son, and then like he doesn't. He stays with his dad.
I was like,
it made me so sad. I was like, those poor parents.
I felt so bad for those parents. Yeah.
I mean, on one hand, yeah, but on the other hand, now he's like, you want your child to succeed, and he is now the heir to billions of dollars. So, you know, it's give and take.
they were leaving it up to him to make his own decision about his life and all of that, because they're sweet, wonderful people
who deserve better.
They should have Dieter
and their
in this
ungrateful
manga.
adopted child who they raised, who had nothing.
Dieter, we found you a family. Dieter, please stay with these lovely people.
That would be so nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, that whole arc, like, it felt so. That's another thing. Like, the arcs that happen feel so random at the start. They feel so out of nowhere, and you're like, did I start reading a new manga, or did we do a time skip or something? And then still they come back and somehow connect, and you're just like, what? How?
Yeah.
So I'm very interested to see what happens and what Johan's play is here, what he's doing, because he's so close to everything and to everyone finding out about him, but he's not leaving. Like, he's not running. He's staying there. And so trying to figure out what his end game is when it comes to this is very, at least this section. Like, I feel like he has many end games. Like, he has his every little arc is an end game for him, and then he has the ultimate end game.
Yeah.
Then there was also the detective too. We had that whole thing with him. What were you guys' thoughts about him?
All right, more than any other like really bad experience, like him dying was so telegraphed. Like it was super, like the death flags were just everywhere. Like specifically the second his daughter is like, okay, I'll see you, I'm like, well, he's dying.
He's dead. Yeah.
That's a shame.
I really hated that he died.
Yeah.
Like, I really, really hated that he died, because and you're right, it was obvious that he was going to, but like they gave us so much information about him. Like, they gave you so much information that made you want to root for him as a person. Like, I was just so unbelievably sad. Not only that he died, but that his family will think that he died because he was drunk.
Yes.
Yeah.
That really, really made me sad. It made me so, so sad.
That hurt.
But yeah.
Oh, and I like that his psychologist immediately called bullshit.
Yeah, he was like, nah. That's not how he died.
Good.
He was killed.
Yep.
So
and
good.
Because Johan made a small mistake and bought the wrong type of alcohol.
Which he could not have known about either.
Yeah.
So he's not
he's not omniscient. Yeah.
Omnipotent. Yeah. He doesn't know everything.
Everything.
He doesn't know literally everything about the people that he targets. Yeah. That was a slip up.
Which is good. Which,
Get him.
like, flaws, like, villains don't need to be perfect.
Yeah.
Villains having flaws humanizes them, which makes it more easy to understand their motives and connect with them, which adds a kind of layer of moral ambiguity for everyone except for Johan, because Johan is a dick.
Yes.
But in every other circumstance or instance where there's a little bit of moral ambiguity, it's always fun.
What do you think about this, like, a German version of an FBI officer, I guess, who's just like wants so badly to get Tenma?
Lunge, like Mr. Hand Twitch guy.
Tap dude, yeah.
Memory hand memory man. He just keeps coming back.
He infuriates me. He infuriates me as a character, that there are like so many people who have managed to put this shit together, and he's like, every time we see him, he's like, I put myself in the position of the person that I'm trying to find. I have an incredibly high IQ, and I'm just like, you have an incredibly high IQ and you can't see what like 7 people in this manga have put together at this point. Like,
yeah.
See, that's the thing about Lunge. He doesn't care about apprehending the right criminal. He wants to apprehend the person that he has already decided is guilty. And he is going to manipulate the facts.
He was called out for that.
Yeah. And he still didn't change.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. He of all the characters, I'm like, I don't just so I feel like he has a bigger role that he's gonna end up playing just because he hasn't. Like, he even got stabbed, yet he back.
Yeah. Tenma like saved his life, and he was like, I can't wait to catch Tenma. I was like, God damn it. And then again, because it's really easy to pull my heartstrings, I was like, he like made plans to see his grandchild, and then was like, no, I am Tenma now, and I have no family ties. I was like, you don't get him at all. You don't get him at all. Yes. It kills me.
He acts like he knows everything about him, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
Speaking of Tenma's family ties, what about his ex-wife? What do you guys think about his ex-fiance?
Gosh. Yeah, his
dude, when
ex
she got together with Roberta, I was like, she did. She did.
Dude, I felt like that was kind of a redemption story for her.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Mm-hmm.
Like, I actually really, really enjoyed that chapter. I liked that she never had actual contact with Tenma in the story. Like she found him, but he was gone by the time she like woke up. Mm-hmm. And yeah, the fact that she was willing to put her life on the line to make sure that he got away, or make sure that like this obviously very dangerous person didn't get to him. I was like, damn, you know, like every time we see you, it's established that you are a, you know, just a really materialistic sort of person. And I liked that we had a story like this where even if, yes, that is still true about her, I liked that we had a story that established that she did care a lot about Tenma. Mm-hmm. Enough to like put her life on the line for him, you know?
I think it's not just her caring about Tenma, but also her wanting to get her own revenge.
Yeah.
And not wanting to let someone else do something to him first. Like, oh yeah, no, he can die, but I have to ruin his life first. Mm-hmm. Like she has to put him in jail.
Yeah, she has to be the one that does it. Should we talk about art?
Sure.
Yeah.
You guys' feelings.
The art is very simple. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But you always know exactly what character is on the panel. Mm-hmm. You know exactly. Actually, I won't say that. There were a couple of moments specifically with older gentlemen. Mm-hmm. The older characters I couldn't always keep straight. And I think typically the way that it was done was with like mustaches, right? Mm-hmm. Very specific facial hair. But if there were two older men that didn't have any facial hair, sometimes they looked very, very similar. Yeah. And again, like Erin said, characters were constantly coming back and getting back involved with the story. So it never felt like it was, you know, pulling too oddly to say to myself, oh, maybe that's the character from like forever ago.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I can see that.
I found myself occasionally mixing up Roberto and that criminal psychologist that was his classmate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like
Rudy.
those yeah, Rudy. Like I would mix them up occasionally, but for the most part, I feel like all the character designs were different enough that all the key players were easily identified, with the exception of those two, because I think when it came to how the character designs were planned out by Urasawa, the fact that he made Tenma Japanese, I don't think it was necessarily just because this is a manga being published in Japan. I don't think that's the only reason.
Yeah.
Because this story didn't have to happen in Germany. I think part of it was to make sure that you knew who Tenma was at all times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I really like the art. I think it handled detail very well. The scenery is all pretty decent to look at. It's nothing mind-blowing in terms of artistic quality, but I think it does everything well enough. It's good. I own all of it in the big editions, and they're like back there. And it's so like on paper, it is fantastic. I recommend, like, if you like the manga, I recommend buying those. It's Such a pleasant read.
It's awesome. I agree. I love that the art is so simple, but you always know what's happening. Whether it's like a action scene, which we don't get very often, or like a full panel spread, or it's nature or anything. Like, it's so simple, but it fits the story so well. And I also appreciate that the characters are older, and so they all look older. There's none of this person is 40, but they actually look 25 or anything like that. And there's all sorts of different body types, and like you can tell that it's a mostly like European place, and so all of that. I think it's just really cool, the details that the mangaka went into, and was like, all right, I'm committing to this setting, so I'm gonna show this setting, and like the architecture and stuff too, for the scenes that take place outside, I thought was really cool too. So yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome art. It's not like, I don't know, it's not the most amazing, detailed, blow you away art you're ever gonna see, but it's so nice, and it's perfect for this story. Like, it fits this story so well. So, do you guys have any other thoughts or anything you want to add? Otherwise, we'll do final thoughts and ratings.
I'm good.
I think I'm good too.
I would like to add that somebody came into the chat and their first thing they said was, "Good Lord, what's that on the bottom left?"
I saw that too. Good.
Perfect. That's what actually
Picture's
I wanted.
doing its job.
That's what I wanted.
Happy Horror Month, everybody.
Yeah.
All right, should we do final thoughts and ratings?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what I gave this last time.
I don't remember what I gave it last time either.
I will look.
I have a score.
Hit it.
Go for it.
I'm pretty confident in my score of this manga. I love this manga. Monster is a fantastic read, which is why I picked it for my birthday manga pod. It is a 10. Like, everything in my top 10s, like everything that I consider a top 10 manga for me, all of them are 10s. This is an amazing read. The one exception to all my top 10s are 10s is Oyasumi Pum Pum, which is like a 12. But that aside, everything else is a 10. And this is one of those things that is also a 10.
Mm-hmm.
You don't, like, if all the numbers that I just said don't mean a thing to you, go read this manga and you'll understand.
Yeah.
It is fantastic. It is an engaging story with interesting and complex characters, a rich narrative. And if you have an understanding of history, it's that much better. So I love Cold War history. So specifically what's happening in Europe during that period of time. Like, this manga is set in the was it 80s and 90s for the most part, right?
I think so.
It's around the time of the fall of the Berlin Wall.
Yeah.
So it's really spectacular. So go read it. It's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
I was planning on giving it a 9. I think that at this point in the story, there are a lot of payoffs that you're waiting for. And the story has done a really, really good job of establishing characters, of building up the story at a really good pace. I think that the story just in general is very captivating. So yeah, I would definitely give it a 9. I assume that by the end it's a 10.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, at this point there's a lot of stuff that's just, you're just kind of waiting for, like, oh.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm waiting for those moments to happen. And overall, yeah, it's an absolute recommendation, and the story has been great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm the same. I think I'm gonna give it a 9 as well. But yeah, like Dodger said, I'm just waiting for, like, every thread to snap. Like, I feel like everything is pulled so tight, and I'm just sitting there like, I'm just waiting what's gonna happen. And a lot of time when you read mystery manga or even just mystery books and stuff, like, the payoff never feels fully satisfying many times.
Mm-hmm.
This is one that I have full confidence is going to be a satisfying ending. Like, just everything that we've gotten so far and the way it's been built up, it just feels like the mangaka knows where he's going, and that he is understanding all the foreshadowing and the character complexities and everything he needs to do. And it's just absolutely awesome. It has one of the best villains I've seen in a piece of media. And it's really, I'm very intrigued by everything that's happening. And like I said earlier, the way that the mangaka is able to bring all these characters back and have their existence make sense, and also all these different storylines intertwine and still leave you like where you feel like you should have seen it coming, but it leaves you thrown off because you're like, how did I not see this coming? I don't understand. Yeah, so it's fantastic. If you like any sort of mystery or even just good storytelling, if you like good storytelling, go and check it out. It's not gory. It's not really like terrifying jump scares or anything. It's just a fantastic story. So I would highly recommend it. And the art is great, like we were saying. So yeah, that wraps up our discussion of Monster, volumes 5 through 8, chapters 33 through 68. Like we all have said, go and read it. We're going to go ahead and read the description for the manga that we're reading next week, and everybody in chat gets to guess what it is.
That's me.
That's you.
I'm so excited. Oh, all right. Something in Okinawa reeks, and it isn't long before Tadashi and his girlfriend Kaori realize that the smell is coming from dead fish walking out of the sea.
I always give away the easy ones. The ones where there's literally no beeps.
At the time that you were like, oh, this one's going to be a doozy, I was actually expecting a doozy, and then I opened it and I was like, oh, it's a sentence.
Nope. Oh yeah,
Doubtful got it.
Yo.
Yo.
That is what we are reading next week. Next week. We're reading all of it, right? Yeah. Chapters 1 through 21, all of it.
It's like omnibus of 2 big volumes. It's kind of like how because I don't own the hardcover, but I was planning on going to buy it on Friday. It's kind of like how the Uzumaki hardcover is, which it's by Junji Ito. So
yeah, it's another one by Junji Ito. Uzumaki was a 10 out of 10 for me, so I'm really excited to read another longer horror manga by Ito.
Yeah, he's awesome. So that is what we were discussing next week. Let's go around and shout out our stuff real quick. I'm Erin of Happily Erin. I have a YouTube channel. All the previous manga pods are there, as well as a bunch of anime first impressions, anime reviews, seasonal stuff from forever ago. I haven't really been posting anything on there, but like I said, you can find the manga pods on there, and I'm a lot more active on other social media, Twitter, Snapchat, all sorts of stuff. Come hang out and talk to me and things. Happily Erin all across the everything.
Yay!
Demi.
I'm Dodger. Hello, everybody. You can find me at Dex Bonus on everything, including Twitch. I will be gone again this coming up weekend, but I do stream a lot. I promise. Just not in the last couple of weeks because we just had TwitchCon. Yeah. If you want really dumb stuff, come follow me. And I also have a coffee company that you can find at dodgercoffeeco.com.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's so good.
My name is Lou. I'm from Lou Talks Anime, and I occasionally post content on my YouTube channel, Lou Talks Anime, or youtube.com/Lou Talks Anime. And I don't know. I've been busy with real life stuff, so I haven't been posting often. But I am still super active on Twitter, so talk to me there, Lou Talks Anime. It'll be a good time.
Yeah. And if you guys would like any more MangaPod, we have a subreddit, reddit.com/r/MangaPod. All the schedule for everything that we're going to be reading is on there, as well as a recommendation thread. If there's something you would like to see us read or that we haven't covered yet, go ahead and post it there. And if somebody's already posted it, go ahead and upvote them. And also, I don't know who you spammers are, but stop posting links to illegal Dragon Ball Z episode downloads. Thank you.
Yeah, you big toots.
Big toots.
Yeah.
You. But yeah, thank you all so much on YouTube and Twitter. YouTube and Twitch. I mean, thank you, Twitter. Queer people. For watching this live on YouTube and Twitch. And if you're watching the VOD of this on YouTube, thank you so much. We will be here, same time, same place next week, 7:30 p.m. Pacific time, talking about chapters 1 through 21. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Should I just leave this chicken picture up forever?
Sure, yeah. Forever.
Forever.